All right, how's it going? It's Josh here from Modestep, and I am here today to run through my brand new sample pack, Bass Evolution, which is an enormous sample pack that I have spent 10 years working on, really, and it's upwards of 1,000 samples, and I'm just going to show you today exactly what you get with our sample pack. So, without further ado, let's go in. So, I've split up the sample pack into different categories: bass, drums, effects, melodic, and vocals. And let me just run through quickly what you have in here. So, we've got 808s, nice chunky 808s, whole bunch of those. Tried to get one for almost every key that you'll need in bass music. And then we have a quadrillion amount of glitches. Some of these I made for the sample pack. Some of them were just stuff that I cut out of tunes. And that goes for quite a lot of the stuff in the sample pack, actually. You'll hear some samples from tunes that we made 10 years ago. You'll hear samples from tunes that we made in the last year. And you'll also hear samples in here from tunes that we haven't even released yet. So yeah, I basically went through every project that we've ever worked on and tried to grab all of the stuff that I thought was really key in evolving your sound. And not just stuff that's like ready to go drag and drop loop stuff, but stuff that you can use to construct new things, and as well as having some of that loop stuff and melody stuff and bass stuff. So, right. Let's go through. We have a bunch of glitches. We have a bunch of bass loops, which they're just chopped up bass shots made into different loops. So you have stuff like this. And with the bass loops, I tried to get like stuff that sounds modern, but also we've got some old school vibe stuff, like as well as some rhythmy stuff too. And some jump up stuff as well for my European fans. We've got a bunch of cool loops that you can immediately turn into tunes if you so wish. And if you don't want to, and you want to make your own loops, we have an incredible amount of bass one-shots in here. I think there's over 200 bass shots in this pack. And you should be able to recognize them from some of our tunes, because I've been using a lot of these samples for probably about 3 or 4 years in all of our latest tunes. I've been dipping into the sample folder, so there'll definitely be stuff that you recognize in there, and some stuff that maybe you won't. But there is a whole lot. I tried to prepare all of these bass shots so that they have the full frequency range in them. So every bass shot has its original sub underneath, so you don't need to add that. And I also tried to make them as loud and ready to go as possible. So they don't really need any more saturating. They don't really need any more gaining up. They're like all ready to go, drag and drop, set up your sidechain, throw some drums on top, and they are pretty much ready to go. Moving on to the drums, we have a massive amount of drum fills, thanks to our drummer Pat. We have rock sounding stuff, we have weed ha ha sounding stuff, as well as a bunch of drum fills, just standard stuff to throw into your tunes in the same way that you would with spicy rhythm drums. It's very similar. Drag and drop, instant gratification fills here. And there are a whole lot of them. Some of them with just snare, some of them with toms. And then some like aggressive rock and drum and bass stuff as well. As well as that, I recorded an entire sample pack in itself, just using my mouth. So we have a beatbox pack that is just me beatboxing samples that actually are way more useful than I could have ever imagined. And some of them I mixed in with some electronic sounds to create hybrid sounds as well. So we have like a hybrid snare, which is me beatboxing layered in with a really heavy dubstep snare as well. And I also added to the pack just those tails, so that if you want to add your own electronic snares to them or use these tails on top of your snares, you can do, and it actually works really well. Drum loops, we have a whole lot of those, and some of them you will recognize from some of our biggest tunes. I threw in some really well-known ones, like for example, the Machine's drum loop. I think this one was from Lost Inside. As well as a whole bunch of new stuff that I created, some rhythm drums, or as I like to call it, dubstep drums. And as well as some stuff from well-known tunes, Whip we've got here. Night Bus Home drum loop, which I know a lot of you wanted. There's a lot of really good stuff here for drum and bass as well as just dubstep. I did really try and focus on like 150 BPM, but I know that a lot of my drum and bass friends actually really struggle to find good samples too. So I thought I would go ahead and make a bunch of original breaks at their original speed and then speed them up in the same way that people have been doing for years and years with breaks and drum and bass. And I also included some of those original breaks in here, so like the original Amen that I recorded, which would have then been cut up and made into something like this. And I tried to do that with some of all of the legendary drum and bass loops like Hotcakes. So these are all brand new loops that have been recorded for this pack, and they are extremely useful, especially for breaks and drum and bass. And obviously there's a ton of really good dubstep stuff in there as well. We also have one-shots. So a lot of these one-shots were recorded with Pat's real drum kit. We also have all the kick drums that I use, my go-to kick drums, quite a few really good kick drums. Bunch of really nice percussion, including some like big room percussion that we recorded. And a lot of these were like big recorded toms that some of them we recorded in LA, and some of these were recorded when we did London Road. So I was going through like old project files and old recording sessions, and some of them even from live shows, because we often record our live shows. So I was really dipping in from all of our years as a band and just trying to find great source material. And this is the best stuff we really could come up with. I know that there's even some like drumline stuff that we recorded when we were in Rack Studios in London, which is absolute legendary studio, and those sound incredible. But yeah, tons of great percussion. Loads of cinematic stuff. We've got a bunch of nice rides, which I often find is hard to find. And a whole load of snares. These are like, this is my pride and joy. I spend a lot of time making these snares from scratch. And yeah, hopefully they're really useful for you guys. As well as that, toms. They were all recorded in different studios around the world. And I tried to get as many expressions on those hits as well, so that it's not just one or two samples. You can create like round robins that don't sound like machine guns if you want to. I also included a bunch of really cool top loops, so you can drag these quite easily with the other loops to make new loops. And I tried to do those across different BPMs as well, so we've got some for the drum and bass guys also. Effects, we've got your usual stuff, down sweeps, impacts. Here is really cool. I had some CDJs for a few weeks, and I realized that I was really missing a bunch of really good rewind samples, and I tend to use them in my tunes, but I tend to go to like the same one or two good rewind samples that I had, so I thought, let me spend a day trying to get the best rewind samples, and these have become really useful and a big part of my production sound now. There are a whole bunch of really good ones in there. Risers, as you would expect. And also hype alarms, which I also feel like add so much to people's productions. And if you've ever watched my streams where I give feedback to people's tunes, the main thing I tell people that they're missing is hype alarms or background elements. And these, you just place them in the back of your tune, and they just create so much more energy for the tune. I even recorded some real sirens. And also synthesized some. But I was really happy to actually have these and own these myself, because I always find myself making that stuff and spending too much time on it. I mean, really, it should just be a drag and drop kind of affair with that kind of stuff. So it was really good to get like a nice folder of that stuff to be able to dip into in the future. So I won't go through all of the impacts and sweeps and all that stuff. You know that stuff. It's all pretty standard and blends really nicely with the rest of the samples in the pack. We've got a bunch of really cool melodic stuff too. I recorded some really heavy guitars. I found that it was quite hard to find some really good like proper metal riff stuff. So we've got some really good metal riff stuff in here. And I tried to get it as close to actual real metal tone, because I found that there's a bunch of good samples for metal guitar online, but the tone of the guitar just doesn't sound that metal to me. So I really tried to hone in a deep, djenty guitar tone and made a bunch of these cool loops with it. As well as doing heavy stuff, I recorded some really nice melodic stuff. And some of these guitar ones are great. Wherever they are. Hold on. These are really good for writing top lines and making more like uplifting and melodic style electronic music. I mean, I play these back to write to all the time, and they really inspire me to make like really good EDM vocals. And I also included a bunch of MIDI as well. So if you like what you hear, there's like also MIDI that you can drag in and make new loops yourself using the MIDI. I recorded, I have a 1970 vintage Rhodes, Fender Rhodes, and I recorded a bunch of really nice Rhodes recordings as well. I also found that I needed a bunch of arps, so I made a whole load of arpeggiated stuff, and especially in D sharp, which I know everybody loves D sharp. But there's a bunch of really nice piano loops, uplifting piano stuff. Yeah, a whole bunch of different melodic stuff. Dig in, there's loads and loads of ideas. As well as melodic loops, I also created some really interesting pads. And there are a lot of these in this pack. There's, I mean, it looks like a good 50 or 60 of them. These I made using a granular synthesizer. A lot of them are actually my voice, grained and stretched. But these are instant intros for a lot of your tunes. Like, we're talking, you could drag this, add a build up, and you've already got an intro for your tune. So many of them, they're all really, really good. I'm really happy with these. In fact, I'm thinking about doing a pack of just this stuff. As well as long pads, we've got some synth shots, quite a few of them, and these will be good for like some of the more modern melodic rhythm stuff as well. And here we have some more Rhodes stuff that I recorded. And these are just chords that you can throw in. And also I included a ton of vocal stuff. Obviously the main sound of Modestep is the voice, and I wanted to give people a chance for the first time to be able to use my voice in their own tunes. Doesn't mean it's a collab. It is not a collab if you use my vocal. Either way, I've included a ton of phrases, ad-libs, and affected vocal stuff that you can use endlessly. All the phrases have wet and dry included. So you've got them with nice delays and reverbs already included in the samples. When it all falls down. As well as having the original dry vocal if you don't want any of those effects. When it all falls down. And you can really chop and change all of this stuff to make insane amounts of different vocals if you really wanted to. Play some more of those for you. And actually we've got the sample here from my Alliance tune, Lost My Way. I've started to lose my way. I think I lost my way. That's the one. So just goes to show, I've already used this sample pack to make a really good tune, and you can do the same very, very easily. I included a bunch of vowel stuff, so oo, e, r, e, o, all of that stuff. And again, you have the wet and dry versions of all of those samples. They're all pre-processed. Even the dry ones are processed to the point where you can still use them in your tunes. You won't need to pull anything out. You can just affect them to make them even more wet, or just do whatever you want with them, really. But they don't need any more processing to sit in your tune nicely. They're all ready and good to go. We've got a big folder of ad-libs. A lot of people are asking me for ad-libs, and I also find it really difficult to source this stuff. Especially good stuff. I feel like there's a lot about, but good vocals and good ad-lib vocals, it's hard to come by. So I thought, I have a voice, why not record a bunch? I also recorded myself doing, I don't really know why, but I thought about having a bit of a weird day and recording some fake movie quotes. So it sounds like that they're quotes from movies that you would use as samples in tunes, but they're actually just me. But use them by all means. So we have things like
say your goodbyes.
There's something in the sounds that he's making. This will be the end.
and I know what you're thinking, I should be a voice actor. I agree. Hit me up, Cartoon Network. Let's collab. Let's do it. So yeah, we have all of that, and also we have some reverse vocal stuff. So you can put this before vocals to give like a nice inward effect before the voice comes in. Or this stuff can just be used as loops in the background of a drop. Like, all of it's super useful. So that's kind of it. There's a whole load of samples, over 1,000. They're all processed, ready to go for you. And really, this is a pack that sums up our evolution. 10 years of sound design, 10 years of production, 10 years of collabs, 10 years of performing live. And we've just tried to get that energy across in these samples for you guys. And hopefully you'll be able to use them and they'll be useful for you as they are for me. And if not, they'll just clog up your hard drive. So I hope you enjoy them. You can grab them on Splice, splice.com, search for Modestep Bass Evolution Sample Pack. I've been Josh from Modestep. I hope you have enjoyed my run through of this sample pack and have a lovely day. Cop some merch if you want. Whew.